Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of Conversations with the Dreamers. Y'all, I am excited. I'm sure you can tell by the grin on my face that I'm excited. So, before we get into our first interview, let me tell you a little bit more about what Conversations with the Dreamers is and what the inspiration and the motivation for it came from. What happened was one of my friends who's actually going to be our first guest. His name is Tafadzwa Negonde, and he does amazing work. He supports young people from Zimbabwe and different parts of Africa to get scholarships in the UK, and he just does phenomenal work. So, and he also has a mentorship group. So each time he has new mentors to the group, he buys them copies of my book from Gokwe to Oxford, The Girl Who Dared to Dream. So each time he wants to buy a book, he'll reach out to me, my sister, how are you? There is this young person that I think will really benefit from your book. My sister, how are you? And I realized that he was meeting so many phenomenal young people. This one has 20 points. They want to go study in the USA. This one has 15 points. They want to study in the USA. And I realized that those kids are kids who had a very difficult upbringing. These are the kids who grew up with nothing other than their determination, focus, and hard work. And it took everything within them to work hard, to study, and to get to the point where they're even getting the scholarship. And I remember telling him one day, I'm like, I want to be the one who puts the stories of these kids on the map. Because when I got to Oxford, people didn't know about it, and the story wasn't really resonating with a lot of people. People only got to know about me and interview me when I wrote my book, when I published my documentary, when I had become the girl who dared to dream. I had a book out there, I had the foundation, I had a documentary, and my story became more palpable. It became more receivable because people would be like, "Oh, she's the one who wrote that book." And then I realized something. If I had never written that book, probably people would have never heard of me. If I had never written that book, people would have never known the hard work it took me, the commitment, the effort, everything it took me to get to that place. And I realized something. There are so many people who have done things that exceed everything that I've done. There are so many people who have risen from environments that literally were against them, where the odds were not in their favor, and they worked hard and they got good grades and they got scholarships and they got on that plane and they went after their dreams. But because they didn't write a book like I did, or because they chose to live their life outside of the public space, no one gets to hear their stories. But those are the dreamers, these are the relatable people, and these are the stories that we want to promote with Conversations with the Dreamers. We want to talk to people who have excelled in their everyday lives, people who have defied odds, people who have done phenomenal things, and they just, you know what, the unsung heroes, those people that did amazing things, the people that grew up in environments that had nothing but still chose to believe, those people that grew up in environments that didn't offer much in terms of hope but still chose to go after their dreams, those people that grew up in environments where nobody had ever been on a plane but they worked hard and they got on that plane and went after their dreams. And you know what, after that they decided to sit back and live their lives. And because their story is not told, it's the people they left behind still assume that it's so difficult to do that. So that's what we want to do with Conversations with the Dreamers. We want to amplify the voices of the everyday dreamers. We want to celebrate the young men and women who are getting scholarships in Zimbabwe, in Nigeria, wherever it is. We want to celebrate the movers and the shakers who are bringing changes in their environments. We want to celebrate people who are defying odds and going after their dreams, because ultimately, y'all, believe me when I tell you this, ultimately what you have in this world are your dreams, and we want to give you an opportunity and a platform for you to tell your story. You never ever underestimate the power of stories. One of my guests is going to be a guy who wrote to me and told me, Sisipet, I used to watch your documentary every day and use it. And I used to tell my friends, I'm going to go to Oxford just like this girl did. Guess what? He's writing his final exams and he would have completed his master's at Oxford because of the story that some simple girl told. If I had just gotten comfortable and kept my story to myself, so many people would have missed out. But because I chose stand out there, to go out there and tell my story. Many people are benefiting from it. And that's what we want to do on this platform, promote the story of dreamers at all stages, dreamers finishing A level, dreamers finishing high school, dreamers finishing university, dreamers finishing graduate schools, dreamers doing moving things in the communities, dreamers finishing their PhDs, dreamers at every stage of your life. You can be 18 in a dreamer, you can be 40 in a dreamer, you can be 50 in a dreamer, whatever stage of your life, you can always dream. And I hope that those episodes will bring hope, will bring inspiration, and they will show everybody that all of it is possible. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to our first guest, the first ever guest of Conversations with the Dreamers. He's not only a dreamer, he's my friend, he's my brother. His name is Tafadzwa Negonde. He is one of the reasons that inspired this show. One of the main reasons actually that inspired the work that he does is he inspires me. I always tell him this, that my brother, you are a light to the world. You do so much good. Please don't stop. So I am proud to introduce to you my brother, my friend, the first dreamer to come on the show, Tafadzwa Negonde, the first guest at Conversations with the Dreamers. Like I've already said, he's not just a dreamer, he's my friend and he's my inspiration. He was the person who inspired me to do this because he's always dealing and working with so many young people. And you can see the passion and the inspiration. And it just inspired me to want to give these young kids a platform and an opportunity to share their stories. So, my brother, it's my greatest honor to have you as the first guest at Conversations with the Dreamers. Welcome and thank you.
You Betty, I think it's a big honor for me coming from someone who went to Oxford saying I'm inspired. I mean, I'm inspiring an Oxford graduate. Oh my goodness. Come on. She's the one who's inspiring me. But yeah, I'm honored to be part of this
Oh,
series. And
no,
thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you
you
so
were
much.
too kind. You were too kind. Thank you so much. So let's start. I know you. I don't think I know you. I think this is an opportunity for me to know you a little bit more. So let's just start
So,
with the basics. Who is Tafadzwa Nogonde?
so Tafadzwa was born in a rural village in close in Musana, close to Bindura, Mashonaland East. Sorry, Mashonaland Central. And I was raised predominantly by my mother and my uncles. I grew up in different places. It was Chiweshe, my mother's village. Then there was Zengeza, Chitungwiza. Then Warren Park, that's where I grew up mostly. And also Gurue. So I grew up in like, different places. But most of my life I was in Warren Park. And I went to Warren Park High 1. So Warren Park Primary School. But grade 1, I was in Gurue Primary. That's where I first did my primary school. Gurue, yes, I was from a Growth Point. And then I went to Mazoe Boys High for my Form 1 to 4. And then I went to Kutama College for my A levels. And then I got a scholarship to study at a small university in the United States, in upstate New York. In the United States, I studied economics. I got a scholarship, um, an academic scholarship. And then I worked in the United States. I was in the United States for 6 years. I couldn't get a work visa. Then I went back home. I then joined Deloitte, studying articles to be a chartered accountant. I left along the journey. It wasn't a fit for me. I left and then I taught English in China sometime. And then I'm back in the United States. Yeah, there are many pieces, but I think I can stop there.
Oh, okay, that's lovely. It's quite a jump, isn't it? From chartered accountant to teaching English. What inspired that?
Mm-hmm.
What inspired that? What happened?
So the different things. So when I left Deloitte, it wasn't a fit for me. It was a good opportunity, but it wasn't a fit for me. But
Mhm,
I left actually with the intention to teach. I wanted to teach in Zimbabwe, but it got frustrating because I couldn't get a teaching job.
mhm,
The government was saying mostly they wanted people with the teaching qualifications. And I
mhm,
didn't have like, the postgraduate diploma in teaching or any teaching qualification. So
mhm,
I was considered like a journeyman, sort of like. So there were not so many teaching jobs that I could find. So I kind of like I was teaching like just like homeschooling, like just doing like, small part-time teaching and back home. But it wasn't really financially sustainable. So I
mhm,
was doing that for like 5 years, and then an opportunity arose in China. It wasn't by design actually. It was a niece of mine who helped me to get the job in China. It was good financially. But it was a good experience. But it was more like circumstances, like necessity really, more than like intentionality. But I love China. It was amazing. And yeah, I paid my dowry money or lobola money from China, so I was able to soft money for China.
Oh, okay. So we got
Yeah,
experience in the wife, loving that.
yeah, The lobola, our parents they love their lobolas, so.
Don't give my mother ideas. Don't start. It's if my mother watches this, please don't put me in trouble. Like my mother keeps asking me, like, hello, should we pray?
Yeah.
Should we fast? But I hear that. So
I'm sure for Oxford graduates, surely we'll be expecting elephants even in the lobola. So
that's all I can say about that. So tell me, growing up, what was your biggest inspiration? You talked about growing up in different places. I
hmm
personally grew up in like different places. I learned at like 7 schools in my primary school.
Oh,
And
that's a
it
lot. Oh,
yeah, I know. And it really messed with my self-esteem a little bit because
sure,
it's you have
sure.
to acclimatize to a new place,
hmm
new teachers and stuff like that. It's sometimes you'll be the only one with a green uniform in a sea of maroon uniforms. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yes,
how
yes.
how how did the moving around and stuff like that? How did it affect you if it did in any way?
So the moving around mostly happened for me predominantly when I was younger. Because like for example, I was born in a village, and then at one time I lived with my grandmother. But for the most of my time, I was mostly with my uncle and aunt, my mother's brother.
Oh.
I really hold them in high esteem. Shout out to the Morphos, and because they treated me like their own child. Like I know some people grew up in extended families have different experiences, but
Mhm.
mine was very, very positive. It was very, very positive. So there was love. I was like like with these kids, I was just like a twins or brothers. So there was no segregation. So I really respect extended family members who do take care of other kids because it's not easy. It's not easy taking care of a child who's not your own. And then so my only two schools in primary school was Gurue Primary School, where I did my grade one
Mhm.
and Warren Park Primary School. And then, so I didn't move a lot like you, unlike you, I didn't move a lot. It was just
Okay.
two schools. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had positive experiences in all those schools. Was like I said, there was love. I mean, there was like love and support. Even though I grew up in a in an extended family, I was supported. I was
Mm.
seen, I was valued. So I grew up with a healthy self-esteem because, I was just like any other child. And I really love Guru Primary School, and I do hope in future that I can go back and give back to that school because that was the foundation of my formal education, sort of. And
Oh.
then Warren Park 1, I went there from grade 2 to grade 7, and then Mazoa Boys High. Yeah, so that was my education journey. But
Oh, okay. Yeah, Guru holds a soft spot
in
in my
Kutama.
heart as well. It's like so
Oh, really? Interesting.
yeah. So let's talk about your journey in the United States. I think one of your stories is one that inspires me the most.
Yeah, so I can say on how it started. Like so at A level, advanced level, Form 5 and Form 6, I was at Kutama College,
Okay.
and there was a scholarship program called the United States Achievers Program that was started by a lady that I have high regard, Rebecca Ziegler Mano. She now runs that program full time outside of the US Education Embassy. Started a program to identify high achieving students from across Zimbabwe. And I was just at the right time, at the right place at the right time. That Kutama was one of the satellite schools that they also started partnering with, identifying students. Even though I did not apply for that program because my mother was sick, so I could not conceive of going to America when my mother was sick. She was deathly sick. She was on a deathbed, and she eventually passed away a month before my A-level exams.
Wow.
However, being at Kutama exposed me, so the good thing was, even though I did not apply for that program, a friend of mine, Freedom Chetany, I have to give a shout out to Freedom because it was him that you got selected into the program, and then he told me that Tafadzwa, you can also apply to America by other means. So you don't have to just apply to. There is no just one way of coming to America. So Freedom really inspired me by telling me I set another parallel program to the user program where I could go to the embassy, pay a membership fee, and then
Mm.
get the same benefit like those user scholars. So the only difference was that I was funding my processes. So in the United States at the time, to apply, you had to write admission test called SATs, which are more like admission tests. And then the application fees and everything I had to pay myself.
Mm.
But the USAP, if you're USAP, everything was funded by the embassy. So that was the main difference.
Oh, okay.
But Freedom gave me the idea. And I remember the membership fee wasn't much, but for some years it was a lot. It was $25 for the whole year. So
Oh.
imagine $25, you could get internet access, you could get advising, you get your essays reviewed. So that's how I got exposed to the US process. So that's what
Mm.
I'm trying to do now independently. At times I share those things to students outside of the embassy, or, because I came through that process. Because I know for most people, information is a privilege for most people, or it's a premium for most people. The rural kid in Gope or in Guruwe or in Chiwashe, he or she's not going to know how to navigate the US process.
Mm.
So that's why,
Mm.
the work that I do inspires me just to share that experience beyond students in the cities or in the privileged backgrounds. Yeah. So that's how I got to start my journey in the US. And then I was fortunate to get a full ride scholarship to St. Lawrence University. I was very fortunate and had a good experience. And talking about challenges in the United States, the biggest challenge that I had was mental health, because I came to America on the backdrop of losing my mother. So I came with depression, and then I struggled to navigate depression because I had never heard of depression growing up.
Mm.
I had never
It's
heard
not
of
common in our culture, is it? We don't talk
hmm
about mental health a lot enough in
yeah.
our culture. Yeah.
hmm It's getting better now, but back then it was even worse. Like I remember when I would confide with some fellow African students, they say, "Oh, Africans don't get depressed.
Mm.
Depression is not just man up, just man up." But I was struggling. I was bubbly and all, but inwardly I was struggling because of depression. So it was more like a lone battle. Even some family members would tell me, "CNN my periods, Tafadzwa, leave those medication, we don't get you don't get depressed, we don't have depression." So it was a lone battle. So that was the biggest struggle for me, because I ended up relapsing, going to psychiatric hospital and actually leaving school at one time. I left studying. Yeah, I left study in my second year. I left study in March for 8 months. And then I was fortunate to get help from a psychiatrist. And then that psychiatrist helped me. And also, family being home helped as well. I would go to the rural areas. My grandmother would help me, just like therapy, talk therapy. They talk psychotherapy back home, like talk therapy, but it's a big deal. We kind of do it back home, but it's we don't like have those terms. But talking to my grandmother in the rural areas, just help. Being in the village help. Going to the going to Kumombe, heading kettles for our non-English, like non-Shona audience. Okay, going to the kettle heading, sorry, was helpful. Being nature, walking in the village. So all that, in addition to taking medication, seeing the psychiatrist, everything helped. It wasn't just one thing; it helped me, and I was able to come back after 8 months to come back to resume my studies. Yeah,
Mm.
but mental health was the biggest challenge for me. Yeah.
That is so inspirational. That is so powerful. And I think it's what would you say to somebody who is going through an episode of depression or going through a hard time? Because I think for me, what inspires me the most about that story, my brother, is you came back, you bounced back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when bad things happen to us, very people have the ability to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
So,
it's
so,
I've seen people who have been overwhelmed with life, with loss, with depression, that have just so many rising stars who were overwhelmed and
mm,
never came back. What would you say to somebody who is going through that dark space, who doesn't know how to navigate the challenges and stuff like that? What would you say to them?
yeah, that's a good question. I think the first thing is like there's hope. You're not
Mm.
alone, and you can seek help. Seek help. By all means, necessary seek help. For me, if by all means professional help helps, as a professional, go to a mentor, either a counselor, a psychiatrist. Also have a good support network. Would
Mm.
have a good support network. And for me, I'm a person of faith. My sister, so I'm a person of faith, and my faith did help as well, because faith, what it does, it gives you hope.
Mm.
The Bible
Mm.
talks about, like James, is it James 1? Like, count it all joy, brethren, when you have all these, temptation, like challenges, and perseverance, great character. Like, I don't know how to, I'm just paraphrasing, but there's power in belief and faith, in having a strong faith
Mm.
system. But the biggest thing is seek help, and don't be afraid to seek help. I know seeking help for mental health can come with like a stigmas or alcohol periods or he's taking medication, but seek help, seek help. And it's also good to take step back. So like for me, for example, I'm the one who demanded to go home. So it wasn't the school that says Tafadzwa go home to Zimbabwe. I'm the one who says I want to go back home. So it was kind of like contrary, right? Because you come from a poor family, you make it to an American scholarship, you live with them, you think you're living the American
The
dream,
American
and
dream.
then you're like, it's counterintuitive, right? Then you say, I'm going home. Even my friends are like, why do you want to go home? Why? So, but for me, I think it was one of the best decisions that I did because home helped. My sister in the diaspora, it's not always easy, Betty.
No.
It's not always easy. Like, if you don't have those social support systems, it's not easy. It's not easy. So home was the best thing for me because I got help. My grandmother helped me. My uncles helped me. My friends. Even if a friend would just come, let's go and have a barbecue or let's have a nyama yekugoncha or what you call some people say barbecue. It would help. It's just, all those support systems. Shout out to Calvin, Musa, my friend, you check me, drive and come and take me to, go even like a chicken in or like, all those things. I don't want to lie to you, Petty, I was at my lowest. I
Mm.
was at my wit's end. I was at my lowest. Even suicide thoughts at times would
Mm.
come. But it was those moments, those people would, just give me hope. I would cling to hope because there were people who made me seem valued. Because I was like, I lost an opportunity. I doubted that I would go back. So I didn't know I would go back, to be honest. But also my university was very supportive. My university was very supportive. They told me, see a professional, if that professional clears you, you can come back and the scholarship will just continue where it started. But for those who fall down, please have hope. The Bible says, though a righteous man fall 7 times, but they rise up again. A Japanese proverb says, fall 7 times, stand up 8. So it's okay to fall down. It's okay. It's okay to have those setbacks. You're not alone. You know, it's
Yeah.
okay. Don't
There's
take
a
it as if like I want to take this opportunity. I've lost this. Even if you lose this opportunity, you can always bounce back.
yeah.
I have a friend that I will not mention the name, but I have this friend. This friend won the presidential scholarship to go to Russia,
Mm.
and this student had mental health challenges in Russia, and he came back to Zimbabwe, and you are stuck for like 3, 4 years, and the government says, "Oh, you're not gonna go back to Russia. That's it. You can't allow you to go back." But guess what? This student was stuck. He was working in a supermarket back home with 15 points. Straight A's at almost straight A's at like at all level. 15 points at straight A's in at advanced level. And guess what? A stranger one day met him in town. And this
Mm.
year was like, oh, I don't see you at TM these days. What's happening? And so, oh, I lost my job. And it's like, really? What do you have? Oh, I have A level, I've got these grades. Like, what? You've got 15 points. This was this stranger ended up paying for his school fees to go to Midland State University. And this student now graduated first class. So I'm just saying, like, if life will have setbacks. It's common, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in those setbacks, there's always hope. Yes, it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but there's always hope. There's always that person who will, help you, bounce back. So you can bounce back. There's hope. Yes.
Oh, my brother, thank you. I think I wanted to say when you were speaking, I wanted to say the pastor's kid in me wanted to shout amen, because
Yes.
because it's yeah, because it's one of my second book actually. Dear African Child, 100 Love Letters to You. I think it's letter 72. It's called Have Rebellious Hope. Like this
Oh,
ultimate
nice. Rebellious
unshakable,
stuff.
yeah, and this ultimate unshakable belief that no matter how
Mm,
bad things get, they're going to be okay. I think for me, it's most of the people, most of my friends, they don't even know how I do it. Like I will cry, life will overwhelm me,
mm,
but I have to believe that I look at where God took me, like
mm,
kwandakabva kugokwe pasi kwenyika
mm.
kusina magetsi kusina tichimukira na 3 a.m. muchienda kubhazi, and he took me here. So I have to believe that there is something for me in the future, and I feel like
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
it's a powerful thing. It's like this unshakable optimism that, no
mm,
matter how bad things look, they're going to get better.
mm,
And your point for asking for help, I think that was my biggest weakness for the longest time. I did not know how to
mm,
ask for help
mm,
because I've
mm, mm,
always been the strong one, I've always been the
mm,
strong friend. I've always been the
mm,
one that people call when they need advice. So when I was
mm,
going through things, I didn't know until I was so overwhelmed that I called my best friend, crying at 2 a.m. And I'm like, really,
mm,
my heart hurts. My heart hurts,
mm,
and I just cried
mm,
it out. My heart hurts. My heart hurts.
mm,
So
mm. Yeah,
that's
that
powerful, my brother. Support and hope. Lean on people.
yes,
They care for you and have hope. It will
absolutely.
get better.
And those who want to see you win will do anything for you. Those who want to see you win, will do will. For example, I'll give you an example. Like I grew up like so. I was born out of wedlock. So, but I have a very supportive father. Even if I was born out of wedlock, my father, I give a shout out to my father. He's very supportive. And I'll just give shout out to the men who take care of their kids, irrespective of what the circumstances between the parents and stuff. Just take care of your kids. My father is very supportive. Like he's actually the one who funded my US journey. So I have a very supportive uncle, and I have a very supportive father. I have a very supportive mother. So for me, that's what inspires me, love, because I really saw love, in different places. My mother worked at the growth point in Grue, you know, and she was very supportive. My uncles, he didn't have much, but he was very supportive. My father was a high-ranking civil servant, but he was very supportive. Even if I was born out of wedlock, I was supported.
I think one thing that I will say, my brother, though, is there could be someone watching us who doesn't have a strong family support system, who doesn't have
Mhm.
it's what I would just want to say is sometimes family is not bad, it's not by blood. Family could be the people we choose for
Yes,
ourselves. So a support system. So when you hear Tafadzwa saying, I have a supportive uncle, supporting father, and probably that's not the case for you, do not lose heart. It's
mm,
Mwari anomutsa vanhu muupenyu, even if vakasava hama dzeropa, vakasava baba, vakasava sekuru, there are always people out there you meet in terms of strangers who bless you, in terms of friends.
yes,
So it's just put yourself out there, make friends, talk to the stranger on the bus, talk to the person sitting next to you at church. You never know where you're going to meet your miracle. So don't be limited or discouraged with, oh, my father is not
yes,
supportive, my uncle is not supportive. Everybody's journey is different. And Tafadz's story is just to inspire us and his experience. So whatever your experience is, it's still valid. So my brother, let's move to sort of what I feel like the bulk of the young people watching us would be interested in scholarships. What do you have to tell us about scholarship? What made you start? Like helping people get scholarships. You told us what inspired you to do that. Let's talk a little bit more about what that process looks like. What sort of people do you help? And if there's somebody watching us right now who has 15 points or whatever number of points that are thinking,
mhm.
I need a scholarship to go to the US, what would you tell that person?
Yes, thank you. So I've always been a helper. So I've always been someone who wanted to help because I
I
was
can
brought up
I
by,
can testify to that. Sorry, I had to interject. I can testify to that.
uh, I just inspired by my grandmother was a helper. She was that one of that, in the village person where, if people don't have one to, plow, the fields, they don't have cattle or ox, they would, come to my grandmother. If they don't have like a squat cart or chikoch cart or like an ox drawn cart, or as women say it, she was the one that, people would, come. Of course, she wasn't the only one, but she was one of the people that, would also avail. So I was raised by helpers. My mother was a helper. And my father is always there. And even like strangers as well that have helped me as well, inspire me. So it's not just family. Even for me, I believe actually family, like you said, family goes beyond blood.
Mm,
Blood, family goes beyond blood. It's just, blood is only skin, it's only skin deep. Family goes beyond blood. But able to get started about the scholarships, I'll just start how it started. So it started by accident, actually. So when I got the scholarship to come to America in 2003, there was a student who was at Kutama College. This student had 10 A's. He was one of the best students in his stream. And this student, his father had left home because of health reasons, and the father was the only breadwinner. And so this student, despite having 10 A's, did not have anyone to pay for his advanced levels. Imagine 10 A's, right? This is 2003. That was hard to get those days. But this student did not have anyone to pay for his A levels. So this student came to our house in Warren Park and he was speaking to my cousin. And he was like, oh, brother, I'm looking for someone to pay for my A levels. And my cousin just like referred him to me. He said, oh, talk to my cousin Tafadzwa. Tafadzwa is applying to United States universities. Maybe he can help. So when I met that student, the first thing I was impressed by the 10 A's because I had 11 A's at all levels. So I knew it was hard to get 10 A's. I knew it was difficult. And I knew this was a good student. So when I met that student, when I met that student, I promised him that when I would go to America, I was gonna pay. Remember, I mentioned the membership at the embassy. It was $25. So
Mm-hmm.
I promised I was gonna pay for his membership at the embassy, and I promised I was gonna pay for the SATs, and then I would help him navigate the application process. So that's what I promised him. But guess what? A week later, I see a scholarship advertised in the newspaper. The United World Colleges scholarship was advertised in the newspaper. It was, I still remember it was the last page of the newspaper. I talked to my uncle who would buy newspapers every day. Uncle, can I cut this scholarship? And he gave me permission. Thank you, uncle. And then it was like 6 p.m. at night. It was actually getting dark. I walked like 3 streets to his house. And I told him, like, Rodney, I'll just say his first name. Rodney, please apply to this scholarship. And please come to see me on the weekend and we're gonna work on the application. So the first part was the essay. So he came to see me and then we worked on the essay application. And then, he applied. And then by God's grace, he was shortlisted for the interview. That's the last stage. So Rodney then we went on the interviews. The biggest advantage that I had for me on that scholarship was that my best friend from high school, Calvin Musa, shout out to my Calvin. I have to shout out. He's my bestie. We've been roommates since 1996.
Oh,
So next year is
wow.
like, yes, 1996, we've been roommates since then. And so my best friend had gotten this scholarship to go to Singapore. So when he came from Singapore, my friend was changed. Oh my goodness, my friend was changed. He was totally changed. Everything about him, the pictures that I was seeing from all these like multiracial society school, oh my good experiences. And I was like, wow, he showed me his album. I was just blown away. So through my friend, Alvin, I was able to help Rodney. So Rodney then also referred like another student, like, oh, Tafadzwa, I have a friend of mine who's also shortlisted for the interview. Can you help me? I think first I have to shout out to Ronnie because I was impressed. Here's someone competing for a scholarship, right? And imagine you tell another student that this is the source, of information. And guess what? That year there were 5 students who were being selected for the United World College scholarships. Rodney was one of them. He got the scholarship. The other student, Tendai, I'll just mention first name. Tendai also got the scholarship. So
Wow. That's
all of five
amazing.
students.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them. And guess where they went?
Mm-hmm.
Rodney went to England.
Mm.
No, Wales, UK, United Kingdom, Wales,
Mm-hmm.
which is the first UWC, the United World College, which is UWC's, was in England. And Tendai went to Canada. These are students coming from the ghettos. Tendai was coming from Glenview. Rodney was coming just from Warren Park. These are students. Rodney could not even afford A-level fees. Guess what? Even the school in the British school cost? It cost 75,000 a year for 1 year. And this is someone who cannot pay like 500 or 300 at a boarding school and he gets to this school. So that experience changed me, to be honest. It just changed me. It really changed me. And the joy that I felt at seeing these two, this were Rodney, like from failing to go to school A level, so to getting a full ride international, so to go to England. It just changed me. Like the Bible says it's blessed to give than
That's
receive.
impressive. Yeah, I think,
And
yeah. No,
yo,
sorry.
you can go. Yeah.
No, before you continue, I just want to point something out that stood out for me is the fact that you didn't have $1,000, you didn't have a company, you didn't have an
Oh
infrastructure.
no.
You saw an advert in a newspaper, you cut it out, and you walked in the night to go and show it to somebody. So
Mm.
this is what for me that stood out for me. It's the passion. You don't have to have $1 million to help.
No,
You
no.
can from where you are, you can change somebody's life.
Yes.
It's those unsung heroes, those tiny opportunities that life
Mm,
gives you to change somebody's life. I just wanted to point that out for someone listening. That it's if you're
mm,
sitting there and you have a passion in your heart, you feel like, oh, I should be helping kids do this. I should be. You don't need capital. You don't need an infrastructure. You just need to
mm.
start. Find your neighbor, help them. Find the child at church, help them. You don't need
Yes.
a whole infrastructure. Start from where you are. And when you start, you build big brick by brick, brick by brick.
Yes.
Sorry to
Yes,
interject, my
that's true.
brother. I just had to say that it takes the heart that's willing. There are so many people out there who want to help, but who feel like, oh, I should have $1,000 first. I should have this. No, 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 no,
No,
no.
no.
You just have to have a willing heart and help the person next to you. You can
Yes,
continue.
that's a good
Sorry,
one.
I interjected. I had
No,
to
that's fine.
I had to comment on that one.
Mother Teresa once said, if you can't feed 100 people, just feed one. You know,
Mm.
you don't have to be like the billion like a straight Masiwa to be a millionaire or to be like the next Bill Gates. No. Like you say, you just a willing heart, you can make a difference. And for me, also, I want to shout out Rodney. What I learned from that young man at that moment was like initiative, drive. This is a young man going from people to people saying, I'm seeking help. You know, so if you have those grades, right, seek help. Some people, if it means going viral, by all means do it. In our proverb, it says, maybe my sister, yeah, linguist, you know these things better than I do. Maybe you can translate this proverb for us, for those who are non-Shona speaking people, like uh imbwa yajarira pavani yati nditandire imbwa, do you understand? Like
No,
the
mbudzi
dog that
yazarira pavanhu
Mbudzi, oh,
yati
Mbudzi, Mbudzi, yes, Mbudzi, Mbudzi, yes, Sharapan. Yet in this Ndithandire
yeah,
pambo. Yes, thank you.
yeah, I
So
think
how
the
how
translation would be a god that gives birth in front of people, want the people to chase the dog away. So it's like you're doing your business
yes,
in front of people because you want them to protect you. Something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of saying sort of like because like if you have the grade, the straight A's and the stuff like that, right? I've also
Mhm.
have the girl from I think from Buhera, with
Mhm.
other people as well. She went viral. She had like straight A's and she went viral. At times, if you don't have the people, your family is not a family of means. You don't have the relatives who can help you. Make a short, small viral message. Hi, I have 10 days, I have 25 points. I'm looking for help. There is help out there. There is help out there. Yes, you'll be public. Yes, you'll be exposed a little bit. But at times, that's all that you have. If you don't have, that's why I thought of that proverb, right? Because like Rodney was coming door to door. He went to if he had not shared with my cousin would not have referred to him. I would not have known of Rodney. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you have to tell people. Or the good one is simple one. Wanasingachema anofira mumbereko. The child
Mhm.
who does not cry dies in his mother's cradle, you know.
Mhm.
So you have to cry out for help if you sort of that. So that's what I can say.
Yeah.
Like if you have the grades, it's not just about grades. Challenge if you're a soccer player, you're a soccer player, you're the next Messi or Ronaldo. Go to
Mm.
those academies, go to Dynamos, go to whatever, and say, I can play. I can play
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
I don't have the cleats, I don't have the shoulders, I don't have the boots, but give me a chance and I'll play. Yeah,
I
it's not
know,
just about
and it's
academics.
true.
It's not just about if you can sing, right? Go to those like Pakare Paya Center. Go to the I can sing. Just give me the mic. Give me the opportunity.
It's
You know?
that drive, isn't it? I
Yes.
have a WhatsApp mentorship group, and the topic that we were talking about this week is the etiquette of asking for help. And we'll also
Mm.
be talking to Anna Gono on Thursdays
Yes.
on
Yeah.
Facebook
Shout out
Live.
Anna.
It, yeah, I know she's amazing. She inspires me absolutely. But I think what you're talking about, we want to talk about the etiquette of asking for help because we don't come from a culture that knows how to actually ask for help.
Mm. Mm.
It's you are in the scholarship space, you have
Mm.
sometimes I've woken up to messages that were like, hi, I need a scholarship to go to Oxford.
Mm.
That's not how you ask help. It's like,
Mm.
so we want to teach you and to teach these young people that there is help for you out there, but you need
Mm.
to understand how to ask for help. The
Yes.
world doesn't owe you anything. It's how you
No.
communicate, how you
Sure.
present yourself. And we realize that we can't judge these young kids because they don't know, they have not been
Mm.
taught. And now
Mm.
the ones we know have to go back. So I think that's a powerful one. Like, learn to ask for help the right way
Sure.
and then go after it. I have seen people that were so brilliant, so
Mm.
brilliant, who assumed
Mm.
that the world was going to knock on their door and give them the opportunity. Hey,
Yes. Yes.
times go put them not gonna pan or here's the opportunity. But life doesn't work that way. You have to put yourself
Mm.
out there and be willing to stand. That Roosevelt quote, I don't remember the one about it's not the critic that counts, but the men in the arena. I don't remember
So
the
that
word of
yes.
it, but then yeah, it's like it's not the critic that counts, but the men in the arena who is mad with blood and sweat. So put
Mm.
yourself out there, fight for your dreams, and ask for help. My favorite saying, my brother, is the world will stand aside and let anyone pass who knows where they are going. If you know what you
Oh,
want
that's
and you
beautiful.
want
That's
it hard
beautiful.
enough, the world will let you pass. So, okay. So
That's
I think,
beautiful. And that's beautiful. That's I love,
yeah.
you're an author, so speaking to you is always like I pick up a quote, I pick up an inspiration, so it's
You
always
were
the
too
best news.
kind. You were too kind. So I think we're about to come to an end. So let's talk a little bit about some of the lessons you've learned. When I give you the platform to be a motivational speaker for a few minutes, like what sort of lessons have you learned from your journey, like reflecting on everything that you've worked,
So,
the growing up in the extended family, the traveling to America, having a career shift, coming back to Zimbabwe, battling mental health. What has all of that taught you, and what sort of lessons do you want to share, to the
yeah,
people listening
so
to us? Mm-hmm.
I think one of the first things that I was taught is be grateful.
Mm,
Be grateful. Don't take anything for granted. In our Shona culture, we have the proverb that says, "Usatenda uroyi," ingratitude is witchcraft.
mm-hmm,
You might have the straight A's, you might have all this talent, music, whatever. But yes, people can be prepared to help, but be grateful. Don't take things for granted. When
mm-hmm,
someone helps you, be grateful. Be
mm,
grateful. The Bible even talks about the parable of the 10 lepers. You know, just to exemplify that, be grateful. 10 lepers were helped, only one came to say thank you. So, as much as people can come to show up to help you, whether it's pro bono or anything, please be grateful. Please be grateful. That's number one.
mm-hmm,
Number two, be a dreamer. Like this series, Conversation with Dreamers. I like two quotes that I like about dreams. The first one, Eleanor Roosevelt. The
mm-hmm.
world belongs to those. No, the future belongs to those who
Those
believe in the beauty of their dreams.
are dream.
The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I love Eleanor Roosevelt quote. That one is one of my favorite. And do you know where I got it from?
Mm-hmm.
Student's Companion.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's
There is
amazing.
there is a part that says 100 greatest quotations. That's one
Oh,
of the that I got. There's a section. This is one of my favorite in Students Companion. So that's what I
oh,
got.
that's
And the other
beautiful.
one,
Mm-hmm.
it's a simple one. It says, if you can dream it, you can do it. By Walt
Ooh,
Disney. If you can
ooh,
dream it, you can do it. And so those are some of things that I learned. And I'll throw in another quote. Things are going to happen in life,
mm,
whether you like it or not. They're going to happen in life. But embrace them with grace. Don't let them dampen your spirit, kill your spirit. As the great Chinese philosopher said, it's our greatest glory lies not in never falling, but in rising up every time we fall. So
mm,
our greatest glory lies not in never fall. So you're going to fall. Absolutely. You're going to fall. No matter how good you are, you're going to have
mm-hmm,
setback. You're going to be rejected. If that, for example, the scholarship process is coming to scholarships. Some people might apply and get in the first year. Some
mm-hmm,
people it will take maybe the second year or the third year. But don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
mm-hmm,
And I also like to say that charity helps. Be a giver. Be a giver.
mm-hmm,
Be a giver. It's blessed to give than receive. And giving goes beyond money. It's not just monetary. At times, like you say, Pet, I helped those two students. I did not have a single cent.
mm-hmm,
It was just at times it's your time, your
mm-hmm,
stories, your
mm-hmm,
expertise, or an idea, or just go see this person. So it goes beyond financial. Yes, financial helps, but giving goes beyond financial. And the world, the universe, or God is a way of what goes around comes around. When you give, the more you give, the more you receive. And we rise by lifting others up. The more we give, the more we let's there's beauty in rising together. The
mm-hmm,
the cake is big for everyone. We're not out competing each other. There's a beauty when I see my sister Petit thriving,
mm-hmm,
my friend thriving, my relative, my even a stranger. That's how we
mm-hmm,
grow. We are not out competing each other. My success does not dampen someone's success. Like what Buddha says, right? 1,000 candles can be lit by one single candle.
mm-hmm,
Happiness never be decreased. That is never decreased by being shared.
mm-hmm,
So we should outgrow that culture of like, oh, if my friend is succeeding, or is he or she succeeding at my expense? No, no, no. And above all, have faith.
mm-hmm.
Have faith in God, because the faith being builds a spiritual muscle. Because this life can be difficult. When all things are not working, it is that spiritual muscle, that faith, that gives you the power to go on. Yeah.
Wow. 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 Yeah, I don't know what to say. I learned so much, and on the funny places that we learn things, your story about the student companion. I remember when I was in grade 7, there was this book. I've tried finding it as an adult and I can't find it. But there was
What
this
is the name?
collection of books called There Is Room at the Top. And I remember
Oh,
the
I've never heard of it.
no, I know. I've tried looking for it and I couldn't find it. I remember reading this story. So what they would do, there was this women series where they would talk about women. I remember there was a story about Joyce Mijuru and how she had
Mm.
downed
Oh,
a helicopter and stuff like that. And there was this story of this another lady called Kubi Indi who had done hair products.
yeah, could
You
be
know,
Indy, yes.
I
They
don't
having.
even know who she is. But then I remember I was in grade 7 and we had a few in our school libraries. And I think it's one of the letters in my book as well that there is always room at the top. And I grew up telling myself that
Oh,
Petronella,
I
it
have to
doesn't
get your
matter
book.
where you started from, there is room at the top. So
Yes.
I was reminded of that when you talked about where you found your Eleanor Roosevelt quote. I found mine in a tiny book. I've tried, I've Googled it. I can't find those books. Okay,
And is your
so
book on Amazon? Then I
not
South
the
African.
the
Then I
African.
South African.
Yeah, it
Is
is.
it? I have $2. I have to get it for my $2. I have to get it. And for myself too. For my mentors, I have to get it.
It's
I have to
yeah,
get it.
it's quite interesting. It's one of those where I talk about, it's when you've learned so many things and it's when you have something you want to tell somebody and then you feel like if I write a book for this, I'll end up with 100 books. So let me put it all down, you know what I mean? It's like one of the other letters in there that I like is called always read the terms and conditions of life. It's like I learned
Wow.
the hard way that when people do things for you, when things happen to you, they are finer details. Before you accept opportunities, before you put yourself in certain situations, always read terms and conditions of life. So
It's a good
it's
one.
just
That's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah. So
Or
it's
something.
just yeah. So
That's a
it's a
good one.
little it's a
Oh,
few lines of
I'm going to buy it after this interview. I'm going to Amazon and click. I'm gonna buy it. Absolutely. I'm gonna.
oh thank you, my brother, for the support. So I think we're coming to an end. If you could go back, and meet 10-year-old Tafadzwa, what would you say to him?
I'll say to Tafadzwa, be more courageous.
Mm,
I had a lot of like a fear of the failure. And
mm,
one thing is don't be a perfectionist. Strive for excellence and progress, but try not to be a perfectionist. Excellence is good, strive for to be good, but perfection was one of the things that I struggle with because by being a perfectionist at times I struggle then to try because of the fear
mm,
of failure. So
mm.
strive for excellence, but don't be a perfectionist. Mm.
Wow, that's amazing. That's phenomenal. I think I learned that lesson quite early on because for me, my brother, I'm a doer. I think by now, I'm an executor. I have an
Mm,
idea, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? I find so much joy in failure. One of my favorite mantras or my philosophies in life is I would rather have failure than regret. So I
oh,
would
that's a good one.
rather know that I tried and failed. So when I do something, I will give my best. I will do everything I can do. I will say everything that I can say. I will fight. So at the end of it, I will say, Petronella, you tried and you failed. But I never wanted to be, I had something to say and I couldn't say it. I had something to do and I couldn't do
Mm,
it. No, I want to immunize myself against regret. And the only way to do that, my brother, is show up, do it. If you fail, you learn where you're vulnerable, you try again. If you succeed, you celebrate, you move forward. So I think
that's a
that's
good
an
one.
important lesson to learn because sometimes the pursuit for perfection can cripple you. You can be
Oh,
paralyzed.
absolutely, yes,
You can be
absolutely.
paralyzed because you're thinking it's not good enough, it's not perfect, I need to do this
Mm,
until you eventually never do it. you know so if you
also
don't put
true.
yourself out there, you can never really you can never really know what can happen. My brother, we're almost at the end. What are you
Mhm.
looking forward in the future? What are you looking forward to in the future? I know it's seeing
Well,
Cooper and seeing the goals grow up and stuff like that. So what are you excited about in the future?
so the first thing is I want to say thank you so much, Betty, for the honor for this series. Thank you for being a dreamer. You
Oh,
know, from Gobert to Oxford, the girl who dare to dream. So it's a book, by the way. So please look for it. In Zimbabwe there are various bookstores. And Amazon is there. It's a good book. It's a good book.
thank
So
you. Thank
thank you
you,
for
my
being a
brother.
dreamer, and I want to say thank you for inspiring people to dream, to achieve, and thank you for humility. You're very humble. in your success. It's not anyone who goes to Oxford from our backgrounds. But I love your story because from your story, you're not coming from a position of like, I'm the only one who made it, or that's a super, super special person. You're coming with a story saying that I did it, you can do it too. And that's a story that we want to hear more and more.
Thank you.
More, when people succeed, we want to hear more stories. People should write more books. How did they do it? How did they start these businesses? How did they go to the school? How are they doing this? Or footballers. How are you going to, how are you playing in Manchester? How are you playing, all these things? So thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for being an author, leaving a legacy that will outlive you beyond, So thank you so much. I thank you. I'm just grateful. But if I want to leave something for people, just saying, please be inspired to be the people that you want to be. Your circumstances, your backgrounds don't define you. You can
Mm,
rise above your circumstances. I was born there, out of wedlock. You know what it means in Zimbabwe. At
mm,
times it comes with
mm,
certain, stigmas. At times person sango, all these things. I'm saying it because people say those things. To
mhm,
that child who is being called names, or for certain reasons, it may be disability or anything. Please don't let those names define you.
mhm.
One, you're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
You're God's child. Let God define you, not the society, and you can rise above your circumstances. Yeah. And if you have setbacks by any means which might come, it's natural. Please know that the righteous men fall 7 times, but they rise again. That's I think Proverbs 24, verse 16, I think. But maybe you can the pastor's child, maybe you can I'm putting you on the spot.
I
But
know
yeah, but that's the
I have my best friend calls me her moving Bible, and I'm like, no, don't do that.
But yeah, but I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful and I'm also just grateful for my wife, Prudence. I want to give a shout out. I
Mm,
want to give a
mm,
shout out to Prudence, just being my better half, for loving
mm,
me the way I am, despite knowing that I had a mental condition, and I'm grateful. And what I'm looking forward to is just joy, more success for my students, happiness in my marriage, for my little girls to be the girls that they want to be dreamers as well, and to live the life of their dreams, and to let the world not define them. Yeah. And also, I'm looking forward to a better Zimbabwe also, and a better Africa. I want to see Martin Luther King had a dream that I
mm,
have a dream that my child will, grow up in. I also have a dream for Africa as well, that the
mm.
African child should grow up one day, not as grow up with a slow self-esteem that they can't do this, they can't play it, they can't do this, but that the African child can be a dreamer and be whatever they want. Yeah.
My brother, thank you so much. As I've said, people right from the start, from the introduction, he is not only a dreamer, he is my brother. He is a person who is very important to me. I've told you this and I say it. I'm one person. My strongest virtue, my brother, is my integrity. I do not say anything I do not believe to be true. I don't flatter people. I don't say, if I don't
Mm,
mean it, I'm not going to say it. If you hear me
mm,
say something, you can take it
mm,
to the bank. I always tell my friends that I want my reputation to be, if Petronella tells you something, take it to the bank because your word means that much. So I'm saying this to say that when I say you're an inspiration to me, I really mean it. You inspire me in so many ways. Sometimes I don't even have the energy to do certain things. And I see the things that you do, the passion that you have. You have this actual passion to help people. You have the patience that I wish I could have, and it's each time I talk to you, I'm like, okay, good people really exist in this world. So don't stop, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing, keep going. The world needs you, and you are an absolute blessing. Thank you so much for being the first guest at Conversations with the Dreamers. Thank you so much. I was
and thank you
honored
so
to
much.
have you.
Can I
Mhm.
just say one word?
It's okay, go ahead.
So, being a person of faith, I believe the words of Jesus that says, "To whom much is given, much is expected." So I give because I also have been given much as well. So please just also know that if God has given you talent, power, all those things, there is a responsibility that comes with all those things. And to whom much is given, much is expected. So thank you, my sister Petit. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your humility. Thank you for the honor. And thank you for this series. I look forward to seeing a lot of people on this series and learning a lot of you because there's power in stories.
There
There's power
is.
in stories.
There really,
So thank
really
you
is.
for being a great storyteller. Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
series, taking time from a busy schedule. See, she has all these books that she could be reading, you know, and but she's spending her precious time, you know, and talking to me, you know,
Mm.
Oxford graduate people. So, you know, Oxford graduates, they don't come that cheap, you know. So, but thank you so much, my
Oh,
sister.
thank
Thank
you.
you so
No,
much.
about books though. Do you know that buying books and reading them are two different hobbies? Do you know that? So, I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there that buying books and actually reading them, they're not the same hobby. So, but I do read my books anywho.
Mm. My sister, Vakajigama B, as we say in Zimbabwe, she ate the bees, the books.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
my
my
sister.
brother.
Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you for today. Have a lovely evening. It was
It's
absolutely
afternoon here.
sorry.
It's
It's after.
mid-morning here.
Oh
It's
no. Oh,
mid-morning.
sorry. Have a see. It's time differences. We're all over the world. We're a global family. For me, it's about 6 p.m. So I'm thinking evening now. But it was absolutely lovely having you here.
Thank you,
Thank
my
you so much.
sister. Thank you for
Um,
your time.
Thank you. And everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be dropping these episodes once every 2 weeks, Friday, 10 a.m. So if you've not done it yet, go to our YouTube, Petroleum Ninja, and subscribe so that you get notifications and you can see the videos as they come. This was the first ever episode, and I'm so excited for many more to come and for what the future holds for us. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.